Okay, so first a teaser. Okay, teaser is not for today, but as I mentioned, there's the new version of the Rambam's Mishnah Torah on Torah. And so over Shabbos, I read through the Hakdama to figure out, well, what makes this Mishnah Torah different than the other ones? I'm absolutely convinced that it is the best Mishnah Torah that exists. And I want to give a shiur on it. And basically in Hakdama, he goes through, I'll give you this is the teaser, right? So when I first came to yeshiva, I was not aware of like different Rambams, right? Like it was the Mishnah Torah or whatever, right? So then I came to yeshiva, the first level up was the kafach, right? So I learned about kafach, and I'm like, oh, that's more accurate based on Taimani manuscripts, okay? Then later on, I heard of the Sefer HaMuga, okay? That's from Rabbi Zucker. Sefer HaMuga is the copy of the Mishnah Torah that the Rambam signed off on, said, I proofread this entire thing, and this entire thing is correct. Okay, the unfortunate thing though is that we only have 2 out of the 14 volumes. The fortunate thing within the unfortunate thing is that they digitized it, and I found a really, really nice copy on Oxford's library. But then what I found out from reading about this is that there's the holy grail, l'havdil, of the Mishnah Torahs, which is there was a copy of the Mishnah Torah that the Rambam wrote out in hand by himself. And the Sefer HaMuga was based on that copy. So anyway, I read in this Hakdama, and the Hakdama goes through the history of what happened to all these Mishnah Torahs. And then he also goes through and says what is good about kafachs and what is like lacking, and then what's good about, this is the Makbili one, and what's lacking, and then like why he made this new one. So I'm really interested in this, and like Isaac Lichter's interested in it. What?
Who made this new one?
Rav Shelat, who is one of the top Rambam scholar who's alive nowadays. It took him 20 years. He just finished it.
When did he publish it?
So he just is published now. And then All Torah is making the whole thing available online. I guess he donated to that. Anyway, so I want to give a shiur on this, but it's kind of an obscure topic. So like, I'll have to like ask if anyone else is interested in it, because it's like to me, it's very Indiana Jonesy, like in terms of there's like adventures about like what happened to these various manuscripts and like, lost and stuff like that, and like tracing it down. But I realize it's not like for Rambam Bekius, so I might do it some other time. So that's just a teaser for the future. Cool. Yeah. I feel like you'd be interested in that. Yeah.
Archaeology.
Right. Yeah. And also I feel like, if I'm going to be using this, great argument there. I feel like if I'm going to be using this online, then I feel like us knowing why it's better is a good thing. So anyway, all right. But now to the topic at hand. Okay, so on Thursday, we just read really quickly through these a couple halachos, and I kind of want to get to the main course, okay, because that's which is the one that I put the title in. But we have to read through these other ones first. Okay, so this is on page 166 in the packet. It's in Hilchos Talmud Torah, Perek Zayin Halakhah Zayin. Okay, so the context here is Nidui, right? So Nidui is, I can never say the word.
I feel like we took a break from Nidui.
We took a little break from it, but not for very long. You were gone when we did this part, I know, okay. Right? So you missed the definition. Ostracization. Yeah, it always feels like there's another what do you call it in there? Syllable in there. Yeah. So let's just since you missed it and you were waiting so patiently for the definition, let's just reread the definition in Halakhah Daled. Okay. So what is the behavior that the person who's menuda, who is put in nidui, conducts himself, and that people behave with him? Menuda asur lasaper ulachabes ka'avel kol yemei niduyo. It's asur for him to get a haircut and to launder his clothing like a mourner for all the days of his nidui. Vein mazamnin alav, you can't have him in a zimun. Vein kolin oso ba'asar l'chol davar shetzarich asar, you can't include him in any minyan that you need a minyan for. Not just a minyan for davening, like anything you need a minyan for. Lo yoshin imo b'arba amos, you cannot sit within his 4 amos. Aval shonin hu la'acherim, he can teach others, v'shonin lo, and they can teach him. V'niskar v'socher, he can be hired by people to do work, and they can hire him. V'imes b'niduyo, beistin sholchim u'menichin evan al arono. And if he dies while he's in nidui, beistin puts sends a messenger and puts a stone on his casket, kolomar shehein rogminoso, as if to say that they're stoning him. Lefi shehu moved on minasibor, because he's separate from the community. Okay, so even in death, like he's separate from the community. Ve'in sarach lomar she'ein maspidinoso, you certainly cannot eulogize him. Ve'in malavinas mitas, and you don't accompany his coffin.
Wait, if before he died, was there supposed to be a certain time limit on his nidui?
Yes, so we're going to get to that in 2 halachos. Yeah. Okay. So you're saying, does it expire when he dies?
Well, it just seems like if he didn't finish on his term, it sounds like it's worse if he died while under nidui. If then, as a result, it's like they put a stone and it's like you're stoning.
Yeah. So the stoning thing is a little weird because only there's a list of things that are chayav skila. It's not like any and of the stuff that we read for chayav nidui. Some of it is like tame compared to skila stuff. I know what you're thinking of, putting someone in nidui who doesn't deserve to be in nidui. Yeah. The essence seems to be that you're to signify that you're separate from the community. I don't know why stoning is a thing. I mean, we read that commentary who said that it's showing that he needs atonement. But I don't know why stoning would be the big thing. Right. Yeah. Okay. So then, was it? It does sound worse. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I think your intuition is correct, and I think that the question is on the stone part. Yeah. I think it really shouldn't be as worse if you die in nidui. Right. Okay. Yasar alav hamacharam. So then, worse than nidui is excommunication. Okay. Cherem. Someone who's in cherem cannot teach others, and they cannot teach him. But he can teach himself, so he doesn't forget his learning. The niskar, which is, again, I mentioned this before. This is interesting. Havamina, that you wouldn't be allowed to teach yourself, which we call learning. But
well, wait, and you also can't be learning with someone else because they can't be near you, right?
So with the with the nidui, there's no prohibition on the learning, and you just have to sit 4 amos away, But with cherem, you can't teach or learn with anyone.
So you were not allowed to learn anyway.
But you're allowed to learn. You are allowed to teach yourself, which means you're allowed to learn by yourself.
Oh, okay. I thought this was the one that's saying you're not allowed.
No, I was saying the havamina is that you would not be allowed to do it. Oh. But the maskana you can. You just can't learn with other people.
The havamina because in nidui you can.
No, the havamina just because the fact that the Rambam has to say. So look at Halakhah again. She'eno shona lachem, he may not teach others. Ve'en shonin lo, they may not teach them. Aval shona hu la'atzmo, but he may teach himself. Kedei shelo yishkach talmudo, so that he does not forget his learning. So the fact that the Rambam had to say that means that you might think that it's usher for him to learn. So the Rambam has to teach you. No, he can learn, and the only reason he could learn, interestingly enough, is so he doesn't forget his learning. So it's like it sounds like essentially we're cutting him off from learning, and we're just allowing him to maintain it, which is similar to what the next sentence is. Ve'ino niskar ve'in niskarin lo. He cannot be hired, and people cannot be hired to him. Ve'in nosin v'nosnin imo. We can't do any business with him. Ve'in misaskin imo ela me'at esek k'dei parnasaso. You can only do enough business to sustain his livelihood. Meaning, you can't, you basically, the way we said it last week was you basically are. So nidui we said is like social ostracization. But cherem is like putting you on societal life support, no interaction with the community, and you just are able to maintain your learning and maintain your parnasa, but nothing beyond that. Yeah.
Okay, so 2 questions.
Yeah.
One, if just like you can only maintain the bare minimum parnasa, but not expand essentially.
Right.
If it's to maintain your learning, is that you can only review that what you know, then you shouldn't learn?
So I was wondering that, because it sounds like he's saying kedei shelo yishkach talmudo, which means only stuff that you already know. And you could also learn shona to mean that, because shona sometimes shona means to teach, but sometimes it means to review or to repeat, so you could learn it that way. Yeah, the way I was understanding it, and I don't have a proof for this at all. The way I was understanding it is that the objective of the halakhah really is to prevent you from expanding your learning, but the Torah can't legislate you're only allowed to learn old stuff, because the nature of learning is that you get new insights and stuff like that. So it has to be the category.
Even if you did only learn old things, you would end up getting you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Second question is, why would you think that why would the Havamina be that you couldn't? I mean,
Yeah, right. It's an interesting question for the Havamina, right? Why would you think that you can't even learn by yourself? Yeah.
Maybe if it's like being for, if it's sometimes things like kafira, you learn by yourself will just poison yourself more.
Oh, so I don't agree with what you're saying, but I'm inspired by it. Okay, I'll tell you why. Because what is the what do you call the what is this doing in Hilchos Talmud Torah?
I mean, it's telling that it is a law regarding learning.
Well, yeah, right. But why is the entire subject of Nidui in Talmud Torah?
Oh, because it was a question of kavod.
Yeah, because the whole thing is an institutional kavod Torah. Right now, just pause here for 1 second. I'm gonna go into this new Rambam for a second. But if you look at the list of reasons why you're putting Nidui, look at Halakhah, Perek Vav, Halakhah Yud Daled. Okay, or you can just look on the screen here. Al arba ve'esrim devarim menadin es adam bein ish bein isha. So there are 24 things that you put a person in nidui for, whether a man or a woman.
A lot of things.
Yeah, it is and it's not. I mean, of all the possible halachos that exist, there are only 24 that you put them in nidui for. So it's not like
you couldn't just do like two broad, ideas and then.
Yeah, I mean they are very specific. They're very specific. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Okay, but then if you look at the fancy new Rambam. In Perek Vav, yeah, this is like my news. This is like a sports car. Like this is like I know how people feel about
Like
this now.
room on it.
I know. Yeah. So he says that in the footnote, Rav Shelat says in the footnote. Where is it? Oh. He doesn't say in the footnote. No, I was thinking of the old Rambam, the Makbili. Oh man, after all that, hold on. Was I thinking of that? I read a lot of stuff this morning. Where is it? Where did I read it? Huh. Look at that. Never mind. Scratch that from the record. Okay, what I was going to say though, going back to what you were saying, is that since this whole, apparently Nidui is an institution of kavod haTorah. Okay, so even though all the particular things don't have to do with kavod haTorah, the whole institution is kavod haTorah. So you might think, not that he's going to poison himself with his kfira, because that's like a little extreme, right? Like not all the 24 things have to do with kfira, but there is the whole institution of like, we said Nidui is like a tool in the arsenal of like the chachamim. Even though every person can do Nidui, it does seem like it's a Talmud Torah based tool, that stems from the institution of kavod chachamim. So you might think that somehow a guy who infringed on kavod of Torah cannot partake of Torah somehow, something like that. And that's why you might think that he can't learn. It's not the most defined Havamina, but that's why there's even a possibility for Havamina, maybe, that this is like, it would be an example of this. Like I'm trying to think of an example of an institution where if you have an affront to the institution, then like they revoke like all connection to that. Like, yeah.
I'm just using if you worship a Zara, like stocking and Shabbos, you're first thing, sir, hopefully just treat like a non-Jew.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I was thinking of let's say like if I think universities sometimes do this. If they kept someone like I think I've heard of this before. Like they kept someone who cheated in a big way after graduation, then they like revoke the diploma. Like the thing that you did. This is still not a loose analogy. It's a loose analogy. Never mind. It's not going to work. I'm looking for something where like the guy did something as an affront to the institution of Talmud Torah, and therefore he can't be involved in the activity of Talmud Torah, even though the way he's being involved in it is not an affront to the institution.
It's like revoking citizenship of a traitor.
I was thinking about an example also. Yeah. No, for some reason, none of them quite.
Like cheating in the college.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like even if you're only cheating in like this one class that you're really bad at, you're still not allowed.
Exactly. It's a sweeping thing. Okay. All right, so then we went on to this is Chizkiah's question about is there an expiration date? Mishi yasha b'niduyo shloshim yom v'lo bikash latiro. Someone who is sitting in nidui for 30 days and does not ask to be released. Menadi no soshnia. We do a second nidui. So we learn from that the nidui seems to have an expiration date of 30 days, right?
He needs to ask.
He needs to ask, but I'm saying that it's not that if he doesn't do it within 30 days, it's not that he stays in the original nidui, it's that they need to put him in a new nidui.
Right.
You know, and also just to now you reminded me, it's not just that he needs to ask, he also needs to demonstrate teshuvah. Like if he did, we saw this with the chachamim, that he needs to appease the chacham who he insulted. You know, until the chacham is actually appeased, like a bit shuvin on the chavurah type thing, you know. So presumably, if you did a nidui from these other things, you need to like show that you have remorse and that you've changed your ways. Okay, but then yashav shloshim yom acherim v'lo bikesh latiro. If you sit in nidui for 30 more days and don't request to be released, macharim inoso, then they excommunicate him, right? And you can't go more than excommunication. Okay, so that's review of what we did last time. Okay, oh, sorry, that's the review of what we did in depth last time. Now we get to releasing the niduyim. And this is going to be factual premises that are going to create our problem. Yeah.
Just earlier, does that imply that the Chayrim has no expiration date?
Seems to be, right? Doesn't seem like there's expiration date on the Chayrim. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. We didn't mention that last time. Okay. How many people do you need to release a nidui or cherem? Bishlosha afilu hedyotos. With 3 people, even ordinary people, like unqualified people. Rambam says hedyotos she'enam chachamim ach mevinim esa inyan. They're not chachamim, but they understand what's going on. Okay, which shows you. So what is the significance of the requirement of 3? Yeah,
Based in.
based in. Okay, right. So 3 is a based in. So the interesting thing is you don't need 3 to put someone in nidui. Even an individual can put someone in nidui, even a regular person. But releasing of nidui is an act of based in. You know, so it's an interesting thing.
You just need one person to start one.
Yeah, and it could be anybody.
What does that mean?
So that's
the authority.
I know, right? That's what we were shocked by before.
Can I just do that right now?
Please don't.
Should I?
Yeah, so I'll read you the halacha.
It's really bad.
Yeah, hold on. Where did he say it?
Well, you're looking, can't tell.
Yeah.
So one thing was like, if you hear someone make bracha, you're supposed to put them in nidui. If you don't, if you fail to uphold your duty, you put them in nidui, you're in nidui. If you put someone in nidui wrongly, you're in nidui.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We answered your question about the expiration date is, so if you put someone in nidui, they're in nidui for 30 days. And then if 30 days go by and they don't do teshuvah and ask to be released, then you put them in a new 30-day nidui. And then if they still don't ask to be released, then you put them in cherem. And that has no expiration date.
Is the reason that they would not ask for nidui because doing so admits guilt?
I mean, probably psychologically that's going to be the reason, but there could be any number of reasons.
What I mean is in order to ask for release or whatever, part of that request has to be that you're saying it's not a request unless you first say like, oh, I admit wrong.
So it sounds, so with what we were saying is with the chacham, if you do a like look at Halakhah Yud Beis 2 in chapter 6. This is on page 164. It says, hold on, here's this the first place. Yeah. So actually, Yud Beis 1. Even though one who disrespects chachamim has no portion in olam haba. If witnesses come to say that he degraded them, even verbally, then he's liable for nidui. Umanadin also based in birabim, and based in puts him in nidui in public. Also litra zahav b'chol makom, and they fine him a litra of zahav, which we said nowadays would be like $9,000. And then they give it to the chacham. And then here's the halacha. Also based in if you disparage a chacham verbally even after his death, then based in puts him in nidui. And they release him when he does tshuva. And if the chacham is alive, then doing tshuva is not enough. He also has to appease the chacham who he disparaged. So we are inferring from here, and I admit this is an inference, but that if this is the case for nidui for mavazeh chacham, that you need to do tshuva before the Beis Din releases you. Seemingly for all those other 24, you need to do tshuva, right? Yeah. So and what was your original question?
Just now?
Yeah. Did I answer it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Basically, it seems like it would imply that the only reason someone wouldn't end up asking
Right.
for it to be repealed or whatever.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to have to.
He didn't want to admit guilt, or he doesn't like the guy, or yeah. Yeah. But where does he say that anyone could put anyone in nidui? Was that in Perek Shvi'i?
Right, citizens arrest.
Citizens arrest. Yeah, that was your good analogy. I feel like it was in chapter 6. I'm just missing it here.
Bets, 7 bet.
7 bet.
No, I'm missing like within Perek.
Oh,
Zion.
Perek Zion. Halakhah bet. Ketzad hu nidui. So that's how he says the procedure, but that's not where he says. Didn't he say explicitly like a person? Oh yeah, here we go. It's in 6:13. Harav shenidei lechvodo. A rav who puts someone in nidui due to his kavod. Chayavin kol talmidav linhog nidui b'menuda. So all the ravs talmidim need to practice to uphold the nidui. But talmid shenidei lechvod atmo. But a talmid who is menadeh for his own kavod, ein harav chayav linhog bo nidui. The rav is not obligated to follow it. But everyone, all the people are obligated to follow it. If someone is menuda to the nasi, then he's menuda to everyone. Menuda l'chol Yisrael. If he's menuda to everyone, see, maybe we misread this. Menuda l'chol Yisrael, eno menuda l'nasi. Maybe that doesn't mean that anyone could put him in nidui. Meaning, maybe it's if the Beis Din is menada him for kol Yisrael. Menuda le'iro, menuda le'iro acheres.
Nidui to them, to everyone else.
To everyone else, yeah, to kol of Israel. Not kol Yisrael, any Jew can put him in nidui. Let me just check actually the Chabad. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I didn't say well last time. Yeah.
I think just like $8.
At Yudalad?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, oh yeah, you're right. That was the one. Okay, let me say this. So when are we talking about it? Yeah, that was right. I knew it was explicit. So this is talking about if you are in nidui because you disgraced Talmid Chachamim. If someone who puts him in nidui about other things, meaning all the other 23, even if a low-level Jew puts him in nidui, then the nasi and all of Israel are obligated to practice the nidui with him until he does tshuva and they release him. Yeah. So that was our reaction. Also, it's like, what? Anyone could just go nidui, you know.
Right, but from that other halacha you're just reading, like those are like everyone needs to care about it.
Well,
like it's just kind of like the circle of people who are affected.
Yeah. So he also did say that you could put someone in nidui for a city, and the other city doesn't need to respect it.
Right.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That if he goes to the other city, then he's normal?
Then he's normal. Yeah. Menuda. So the halakha. I didn't read the halakha. The halakha is menuda le'iro. If you're menuda in your city, menuda le'iro, then you become menuda in other people's cities. So this is at the end of Yud Gimel. Of the last line, menuda le'iro acheres. So if someone is menuda in Far Rockaway and then they go to another city, then that city has to respect the nidui. But menuda le'iro acheres, ina menuda le'iro. Wait, how does that make any sense? Oh, sorry, le'iro. Sorry, I misread this. If your hometown is Far Rockaway and you get put in nidui, so then everyone has to respect the nidui. But menuda le'iro acheres, if another city puts you in nidui, then you're not considered in nidui for your own hometown. And Makbili said the reason why is because like maybe the people don't have all the facts, but in your own hometown, it's assumed that like, you know, the facts are going to be established.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if so does that mean that the only place that you're sort of safe is at home if it was from somewhere else? Like if you go to another city that wasn't either your hometown nor where you got nidui.
So if they find out about it, then if you were menuda in your own hometown and you went to another city, As long as they know about it, then they have to observe the
No,
nidui.
yeah, so what if you were renewed from
Another
a
city.
non-hometown,
Right.
and you're also in another city?
Yeah, and then you go home, then you're fine.
No, just
Oh.
in that city.
In that city, then you're not fine. Oh, I see what you're asking. Meaning it would just be for that city, I think.
It's just for the one that you were originally.
I
So
think-
anywhere else,
I
including
think
your home,
so.
you're safe.
I think so. Yeah, seems to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also
Logically, right?
And what about the city? Like you got put in Nidui by that not one city,
Hmm.
and then you went to another city with someone from there.
Yeah.
Like, or they show up there later, like a couple
Yeah.
days later after you. Do they have to relate to you like in Nidui, even if there's someone else?
It's a good question. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it goes by the location or by the people from the location. That's a valid question though. Okay. So where were we? Oh, so yeah, so anyone could put anyone in Nidui, and so that's what I was saying. So anyone could put anyone in Nidui, but only the Beis Din can release you from Nidui. Okay. Now the like Yosef mentioned or like we talked about the safeguard here is if you put someone in Nidui who's not chayav Nidui, then you're chayav Nidui. So like it's not something you would use lightly unless you think that's correct.
Right.
Yeah, which probably I don't know the laws.
It is
I feel like
citizen's arrest.
I was gonna say if you put someone in citizen's arrest, you should go to a random old lady and be like, "You're under arrest." You know, you
Right.
probably can get charged with a crime. I don't know what crime.
For sure.
Yeah, even if she's not old.
But
Yeah.
it's not baked in like actual baked in, it's just 3 people.
Yeah, it's like in the same way that the minimal Beis Din for let's say Hataras Nadarim,
Yeah.
is 3 people.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like qualified chachamim. Yeah.
If anyone is technically capable of putting in Nidui because of these stakes,
Yeah.
would not listening to them be like not listening to a shliach of the court in that situation? And
It's a good question.
then end up being grounds also in and of itself?
Yeah, was one of the 24 someone who? No, was one of the 24 someone who doesn't observe the nidui? No.
Well, is one of the 20?
That would be good, though.
Is being a bazer or like the shliach of the court, though, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. So I don't think it would be because if we're saying that a normal person can put someone in nidui,
Right.
if that person doesn't observe it, it's not like they're neglecting an act of a court. They're neglecting, like they're ignoring the act of a person,
Okay.
I think.
So then it makes me wonder, well, what really is the point? So what if someone has the ability to? I'm not, if I don't have to listen to him anyway. Like,
So I was gonna save this for a treat. No, not a treat. I was gonna save this for when we really needed it, but I'll show you now. The Aruch HaShulchan in Shin Lamed Daled, the final halacha. So this is the whole paragraph about nidui and cherem. There's only one siman, and we were saying like it does not seem that this is like. I was looking for the answer to the question. Like I feel like people don't do this stuff nowadays, except in really like insular Jewish communities. So the way he ends it off is very interesting. He ends off by saying, very end. Hold on, where is it? Because we're being arama, the afal pish mechuyavim limchos over avera v'nitfas ba'avonam im yachal lamachos mikumacham ein tzarich lahotim mamono alzeh. Okay, fine. So he says, I'll read it anyway. Even though you're obligated to rebuke people who do averos, and if you can rebuke them and you don't, then it's like you partake of the avon. Mikumacham ein tzarich lahotim mamono. You don't need to spend money on this. Okay, I don't know why you would think that. Therefore, we're lenient when it comes to rebuking people who do averos if you're worried that they're going to like defend themselves and their their property. Okay, but then he ends off like this: Vida, you should know, the nidui eno mamish de oraisa, v'gam lo kila kidurbanan. Okay, nidui is not like a deoraisa. It's not literally a deraisa, and it's also not lenient like a derabanan. V'hu divrei Kabbalah, it is considered a matter of tradition. Ukedivrei Torah dami, and it's like divrei Torah. And this is kind of what a question I raised last time. Like, there's no mitzvah of nidui. It's subsumed under kavod chachamim, and I don't know what the halachic nature of nidui is. But here he's explicit. He's saying like where on the chumrah spectrum it falls. It's not a doraisa, but it's not a derabanan. It's like divrei Kabbalah, and you treat it like divrei Torah.
Is divrei Torah different than doraisa?
No, it's not. But the word he's adding is it's not mamish doraisa. It's dummy the divrei Torah. It's similar to divrei Torah.
Why doesn't he just say dummy doraisa?
I don't know.
Okay, so they are interchangeable.
Yeah, I think they're interchangeable. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know what the I don't. It's just a weird sort of halakhic phenomenon, you know. I don't know how to categorize it in my mind. Yeah. And we noted also, again, it's very instructive that the Rambam did not classify this in Hilchos Sanhedrin or Hilchos Mamrin, right? It could be in Sanhedrin under the authority of the court and the punishments, or it could be under Mamrin, which is all the institutions that deal with rebellion, like rebels, you know. But he puts it in Talmud Torah. You know, yeah, it comes, you know, the first on the list is Mivazeh to Chachamim, but it sounds like it's an institution of like, again, this is why I was bringing this up. Sounds like a thing where if you care about the Torah's authority, this is like a way to extend the Torah's authority to like social things, you know, to like use this as a tool of social shaping.
Things that aren't so aren't so easily categorized.
Right. And it sounds like those are the things that made it to the list. And it sounds like it's possible, like this is not a hardcore list that's derived from psukim. Sounds like these are the things that the Sanhedrin throughout the ages said we're going to use for Nidui. And it sounds like theoretically, if the Sanhedrin were around today, they might have other ban-worthy offenses. Yeah.
Which is a question. I'm trying to think of other things. Like, so the court's ability to if they want to tell someone to pay money without like cause.
Yeah.
Like is that a halacha or would that be a similar thing?
So to me, and I'm saying this out of ignorance, okay, but to me, I feel like that is from the authority of the actual court, like actually imposing like their judicial authority upon you. This does not sound like that, you know, especially because it could come from anybody. Mm-hmm. I have no idea what it is. Like we need someone to give we need like a shiur from Rebbe on this or a shiur from the Rav, you know.
It's like kind of like how like chavurah itself is like a Torah idea.
That's a good analogy, right?
There's no halachah that says that you have to be melchel, you're, you know, like a cover of a certain thing that can be melchel for a couple of years, but
yeah, it's not like
the mida is that you should.
It's not like rigidly like legislated, but it's a halachic reality based on a philosophical reality. Right. You know, yeah, it's like that. That's a sense I'm getting. Yeah. But it's just interesting to talk about like you usually don't have a halachos weighing in on the halachic force of something that is not cleanly in one category. Like either this is deraisa or derabanan and that's it. Interesting how he's just like saying it's like in this weird middle ground, you know. Mm-hmm. But chavurah brios is a great example of that exact same thing, you know. Even though we say chavurah brios deraisa, but it still is. It's not like it's still more fluid than it seems. Right. Okay, right. So as we were saying, we were in 7-7. So you need 3 to be matir a nidui. But then v'yachid mumche matir hanidui levado, an expert individual. And let's look at the makbila here. Mumche chacham b'Torah ubaki b'dinei haTorah b'inyan mishpati misuyam umusuva lahakish midin ladin ulhasik maskanos mishpatios. So this is mumche. Literally means an expert. It means a chacham, someone who's a chacham in Torah, who's an expert in the laws of Torah in a specific subject matter, and is able to like infer laws from each other and to reach halakha conclusions. So No. So this is even a yachid, even one guy.
What is the 3 things? Do you need three what?
No, so here it's in order to be matir a cherem or nido, you need 3 people, even non-chachamim. But then he says, or an individual who's a mumche can be matir nido by himself. Mm-hmm. So let's say, for example, you have someone who is you know, a expert in medical halacha, let's say, right, or an expert in shtaros, or an expert in any area. So then he could be monitoring the nidui on his own. You don't need 3. Okay, so you need like the force of you either need a judicial force or a force of a certain individual who has like his independent judicial authority because of his expertise.
Sorry, when we're saying matir the nidui, we do mean
release. Yeah. V'yesh latalmid lahatir hanidui or acherem v'afilu b'mkom harav, and a student may release a nidui or a cherem even in place of his rav. So it's not considered a breach of the covenant of his rav.
This is very weirdly like decentralized.
Yes.
It's not coming from the courts.
Yeah, it's so strange.
All of this can happen without the courts getting involved at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
State, what do we call it? Like everyone's like the people.
Yeah. I would not have wanted to be like you know.
Everyone is Big Brother now.
Yeah, I was gonna say like in Soviet Russia, like this could easily be thing that could be abused. Yeah.
Sort of love this.
Okay, now just a side note in terms of the I know I've said this a zillion times, but I don't think we've seen this case before. So you see that it goes from Zion to Tet, right? So the footnote Makbili says mispor halacha ches nishmat b'mahaduras hadifus. So in the published Rambams, the number 8 is missing. Okay, now the reason why this doesn't matter is the Rambam did not number the halachos. He made the paragraph breaks, but he didn't do any numberings. Okay, so this was like a publishing mistake that was repeated throughout the ages. So in other words, it's not like we're missing a text; we're just missing a number. Okay, shlosha shenidu v'halchu lehen. If 3 people put someone under nidui and then they leave, v'chazar zeh midavar sheniduhu biglalo, and then this guy who they put him in nidui from does teshuva on that thing. Ba'in shlosha acherin u'matirin lo. Then 3 other people can come and release him. So you don't need to be released by the same people who put you in nidui.
Well, but is it only in that situation? What does that mean? Like leave?
Sounds like they're no longer reachable. Like they move, they lose track of them.
So odd because it seems like this weird mixture of heavy punishment, but also like kind of relaxed when it comes to how to get off.
Yes. Oh, it's gonna get even worse. Yeah, it's gonna get even worse.
I'm saying if it's like that, that means that typically you would need the same people to do it.
Sounds like ideally you would need the same people, right?
Right.
It does sound like that. Yeah.
It's not the same people, it's the same person because it's only started by one.
Well, so that's what I'm wondering, right? Because he gives the case of 3 people, right?
Yeah.
But presumably, if one person puts you in nidui, then you can have any 3 people undo it. But he doesn't bring down that case, though, right? It's only like the 3 people.
Sounds like I would think that you would need that one guy and then 2 other people.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's another reasonable assumption. Yeah.
Why they use 3 is that they're doing it as a pseudo base.
That's what I thought also. Yeah. Is that it sounds like you could put someone in nidui as an individual, or you could do it as an active basing. We saw that in Perek Vav, right? So if 3 people get together to do nidui, that's like a stronger nidui, which then would require like that organization of basing. Yeah.
Then Dafka, only because there were 3 doing it, could you have another 3 randos doing it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I actually used the halakhic term. Randos, yeah. Okay. Okay. Mishlo yada mini duhu. If you don't know who put you in nidui, like you suddenly find that everyone is avoiding you, like for Amos, and like like not what do you call not eulogizing you when you die. Yeah. Yelech etzel hanasi. You go to the nasi, and then he can be matir your nidui. Now, why do you have to go to the nasi? Why can't you just do it with 3 people?
Because the 3 people are still around.
Oh, I guess so.
But they would need to do it. We give them
Right. Yeah, you can't just go ask every group of 3 people, right?
The nasi, what if the nasi? What if the 3 in a normal case that are different 3?
Yeah.
They go to matir, but the original 3 don't agree. Like, no, he still should be. Does that mean the nasi could be like, he could contradict that?
That's a good question.
Right. Like the reason you would go to the nasi is because there's no like possibility where there's a question on if he should still be nidui, because even if you didn't know who it was,
yeah,
he could still override it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I get the impression that he has the ability to override it, but regarding the other question about if the let's say the 3. So your other case was 3 people put you in nidui, and then you go to a new 3, right? I mean, it sounds like you only have the right to go to the new 3 if the other 3 are inaccessible, which, by the way, just as a case that's the opposite of this, with other areas, you need the exact 3. So let's say the halacha is if a ger, a ger, you treat the ger as a Jew for all things except for marrying into Klal Yisrael. And when they marry into Klal Yisrael, you need either the actual 3 people who converted them, or you need like the assigned document, that they from their conversion. You can't just say like, oh, we'll use like another based in. You need like the actual thing.
Oh, better make sure that
yeah.
And this also leads me to believe that even if everyone else, about the 3 that are monitoring your nidui, disagree with your matir, you're still fine.
So I say it one more time.
If no one else would want, like everyone that wasn't part of the original 3, that's currently like staying away from you, they'd be like, no, that guy shouldn't be.
Right.
But if your three dudes still allow it, then you're
Yeah,
good.
it sounds like it. Yeah. It's not dependent on anyone else. Speaking of dependent on other people, next halacha, nidui al tanai. If you do a nidui on a condition, afilu mipi atzmo, even your own condition, mipi atzmo. Let's look at the Rav. Yes, you can. Yeah, and if you're a responsible citizen, then you'll do it. Yeah. He'll say it explicitly in a second. But Rambam Bekius says, "Kagon shamar imlo yarad machar geshem." Oh, this is such a bad nidui. If it doesn't rain tomorrow, then I am in nidui. Then v'hahafara nidreshes af imlo niskayim atnai. Oh, sorry. What was the halacha though? So sorry, hafara. You would need annulment of the nidui. I don't know why he uses a different term here, hafara, instead of being matir.
What page is this?
Page 167. Sorry, hafara aide yachin mumche or shlosh idiotos. Either through the one expert guy or the three ordinary guys. Talmid chachamim shenida atzmo, a talmid chachamim who puts himself in nidui. Vafilu nida atzmo al das ploni, even if he puts himself in nidui based on someone else. So what is that case? So the Rambam Bekius says, "Nida asma al das ploni she'amar hari ani menuda b'tanai she'yirashe ploni es hadavar." You say I am menuda on the condition that so and so approves of it. Okay, like let's say like he wants to consult another chacham. Va'af im har hirshehu, even if the person does permit it, inot tzarich lekabel es ishuro k'dei lahatir es nidui. He doesn't need the person's approval in order to release the nidui. So what is this? So that we didn't finish reading the halacha. Vafilu nida atzmo al das ploni, even if you put yourself in nidui based on someone else's permission. Vafilu al davar shechayev alav nidui, even if it's something that you're chayev on, harzeh mefer la'atzmo, you can still release yourself. Yeah. So you can put yourself in nidui.
And you can
release yourself, right? Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, putting yourself in timeout.
Whenever my boss calls me, I'm like, I'm sorry, I placed myself.
Yeah, well, that's what I said last time. It's like you could get yourself out of social engagements in a really easy way. Yeah.
Hold
on.
Yeah, I just got called for jury duty.
Okay, so now we get to the case that we wanted to get to. Okay, the craziest halacha of nidui of them all. Mi sheniduhu b'chalom. If you were put into nidui in a dream. Okay, afilu yada minidahu. Even if he knew who put him in nidui. Okay, meaning let's say like I have a dream tonight and you're in the dream and you put me in nidui, right? Okay, sarich asara b'nei adam, you need 10 people. Okay, and it's not just any 10. It's not just any 10. Sarich b'nei adam sheshonin halachos, 10 people who learn halakhah. Okay, lahatira miniduya, to release you from the nidui. I'm gonna read the whole thing first. Okay, now I'm telling you. Okay, v'im lo mata, and if I don't find 10 people who learn halakhah, toreach acharein ad parsa, I have to journey a certain distance in order to gather 10 people. So like, yeah, so it's like, if you're in minyan, right? Like there's I'm not aware of there being a requirement to like travel to get a minyan to come to you, Okay, but here you have to travel. Lo mata, if you don't find 10 people after traveling that amount, matir lo asara sheshon in Mishnah, then you can rely on 10 people who learn Mishnah. Okay. Lo mata, if you don't find 10 people who learn Mishnah, matirin lo mishiyod in likros b'Torah. You can find 10 people who just know how to read Torah. Lo mata, if you don't find. I don't know. I was wondering the same thing. I think it just means to read.
Okay.
Yeah. Lo mata, matirin lo afilo asara she'enan yodin likros. Then you could have even 10 illiterate people. Lo mata b'makoma asara, if you don't find in your place 10, matirin lo afilo shlosha. Then even 3 can do it. Yeah, Yosef?
Two things. First, when it says Nidui b'chalom, do you know whose dream it has to be? Like, if you're saying this is like as in it has to be.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. So right. Meaning. So the way I said it was, if I have a dream that you put me in nidui, but the other thing is if you have a dream that you put me in nidui.
Or someone else. Like in my dream, Yosef puts you in nidui.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's a good question. I think it is. If it's in your own dream. I can't prove it yet, though. Yeah.
Also, with the code, like, is he saying that you have to go farther to find the 10 than for the other things?
It sounds like you have to.
We haven't read this. I probably would have never had a dream about this.
I know. That's why I'm expecting all of us to have dreams about this tonight. Yeah. But then we can ask a Shiloh. It'll be fun. Yeah. No, but you'll see. It's a strange. Well, you see now it's a strange thing. You'll see that even halakhically it's not so simple. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So your question is you definitely have to go to a parsa to find people who are learning halachos. Are you asking? Do you have to do that for these other categories?
I'm asking. If I guess this is Makom, sorry.
Yeah.
The other thing is that it's parsa for everything until the 10 people, until the 10 hedyoshos, at which point you have to go search even farther to parsa the entire Makomo.
Oh,
then,
I thought Mikomo. Can we read Mikomo as just up until a parsa?
Here's why the different word.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
So, the other question is, why does this have any force?
Oh yeah, why does this have any force at all? Like who says dreams have authority? Okay, what are the other questions?
Why does it have greater authority?
Yeah, why is that great? Right. Ordinarily,
That I can think of.
okay, hold on just a second. Ordinarily, you need 3, right? So why do you need 10? And then also, why are there requirements for what the 10 have to be like? And then why, if at the end of the day, then 3 is okay, so then why is that not okay? Yeah. Yeah. So which one are you explaining?
Why you need 10.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So to me, it's like, because it's a dream, the idea I think what we would have is it must not really be, it shouldn't have any force. Like it's,
yeah, you would think
so
that.
they would agree that, like, you're right. It must be so ridiculous to think that you should be an Nidui that you should easily find 10 people who can say that you shouldn't,
Yeah.
So unless there's some validity to it, then in that case, maybe there really isn't. That's why we're gonna have you go look for something just to show you that, like, that it's beyond a shadow of a doubt.
That's interesting.
With 3, it's like, well, we already know that there's one person who's there's a claim or whatever, so it's not like it's going to be that hard for only, it's most people maybe, it will be probably pretty hard to find even 3.
Yeah.
That's what the
So what you're saying now is similar to what Aaron said on Thursday, which is that, like, maybe the fact that he had a dream about this indicates that he has some sort of like guilty conscience about something like that. And so would you say that this is like so it sounds like you're also saying this is not like a real Nidui, right? Like,
Well, well, it's more like it's showing you that you probably should.
Right, it's a procedure for addressing the possibility of a real Nidui.
You should be a Nidui. Yeah.
Right. But it's not like you actually.
Especially when they just told us that you can put yourself in Nidui. Like, if you could put yourself in when you're in a conscious state.
Yeah.
They probably need to teach you, and also.
Well, here's the thing. So the other question, which we didn't ask, is how does the mechanism work? Because the mechanism for putting someone in Nidui, he said in Halakhah bet, the case of Nidui, Omrin, you have to say Ploni Bashamta, so and so is in Nidui. So it sounds like, unless there's something I don't know about, sounds like it'd be weird to say that a Nidui in a dream could somehow be chal, unless you also are a sleep talker, in which case then you're in trouble, maybe. I am too, yeah.
In the dream, that was said.
Right, but there's no actual speech, like,
I guess.
Halakhah doesn't say that, like, let's put it this way. We'll see if there's another case in Halakhah also. Okay, I'll reveal the question now. Hold on. Sorry, did you have another question or answer?
Or maybe this is where you say dreams actual basis is not just. It's not just the mind, but it's actual connecting to other things.
Oh, so this is the interesting thing, which I got into here, which is it's wild to see what the post can do with this halacha, because you kind of have to get into the question of what is the reality of dreams. And ordinarily, that is just either a like midrashic thing, or it is in the realm of like hashkafa and like about nevuah, but here it actually reaches halacha. Now, here's the interesting case, okay?
Just to clarify, I think that's why you asked 10 is to find out was it some like actual real thing?
Yeah.
Or is it nonsense?
Interesting. But the interesting thing is you don't need to actually, the procedure is not any, hold on, we might need to get to that also. From what I've read, the procedure is not different. It's not like you're consulting these chachamim to figure out if it's real. It's just you definitely need to like find them, and then they can be matir you.
Right.
So let me show you this other Gemara, okay?
Yeah, isn't it that Gemara that a dream is what 1/60th of Nevuah?
Oh, so there is that, okay?
A dream is what?
Is 1/60th of Nevuah.
Oh,
okay.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. So I actually have ready to go here the Rambam on that if we want to do the Rambam on that. But that we should do tomorrow because that's like a whole parak in the morning Nevuchim.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're interested, we could do that. But first, let me show you.
What do you mean Rambam on that?
on the Gemara that says a dream was 160.
Like, what does that mean?
He quotes in the morning book and explains it. Yeah. Okay, so in Sanhedrin Lamed Amud Aleph, there's this funny case here. Okay, hold on. Yeah, this is not in that section though. Okay, Hari Shahaya Mitztar. No, yeah, Hari Mitztar al Maos Shehiniach Lo Aviv. So let's say you are like beating yourself up about like money that your dad left you when he died, right? And you don't know where it is, right? Like let's say like he left an inheritance, right? Secret treasure. Uba bal hachalom, and someone who dreamed comes to him, the Amar and says to him, Kach v'kach hein b'makom ploni hein, Kach v'kach hein b'makom ploni hein, Shamaiser sheni hein. Okay, so a guy comes and says, okay, the money is in such and such a place, and it's this much money, and it's Meiser Sheni. Okay, I don't know what the ramifications are exactly for Meiser Sheni, but I guess like there are halachic ramifications about what you have to do with it.
The whole thing is Meiser Sheni?
Yeah, I guess so. So this actually happened. V'amru, and they said, so here's the psak, divrei chalomos lo ma'alin v'lo maridin. Dream matters neither elevate nor neither bring things up or bring things down. Let me just see if Rashi explains what that means. Rashi. Lo malin. Oh, so v'yachol lahotziam b'makoman. So in other words, I guess because if they're Meiser Sheni, you need to spend it in Yerushalayim. So the fact that this guy tells you that in the dream that it's Meiser Sheni, we don't take that into account halachically. Okay, and the Rambam brings this down the Halakhah in Hilchos Zechia umatana 10:6. Let's look at that. Another section in the Rambam that I rarely ever go to. Zechia. I'm not saying that to be proud. I'm saying that aspirationally. That maybe one day I'll find this. So here's how he brings down the same case. 10:6. Zechia matana. If someone comes to them and says, "Ani ra'isi es avichen," I saw your father. Shehitmin ma'os besida teva umigdal. That he hid money in a certain like treasure chest, I guess. And he says they belong to so and so. Shamaiser sheni hein. He says that they are meiser sheni. Im hayu tmunin bebayis. If they're hidden in a house, then he hasn't said anything. And if they're in a field, then his words persist. Is this the right one? Maybe, but does he even say chalom? Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, so it's probably supposed to say Zion. So you're distressed about the money that your father left you, and you don't know where he hid them. And you don't know where he hid them. And they say to him, in a dream, they say they are such and such. Oh, so the case is like this. Okay, so this is maybe I got the case wrong. The guy, the dreamer tells you where it is and tells you how much it is, and you actually find it there. But the dreamer also said that they're Meiser Sheni. So the question is, do you have to like heed that and treat it as halachically Meiser Sheni or not? Especially because the guy has a good track record. Answer is Zimasa Shahaya. That was a real case. V'amru chachamim, and the chachamim said divrei chalom was lo malim lo maridin. Right, dream matters don't affect anything. So they're treating it as all right, you found that coincidence. Yeah, exactly right. So the question that the Mefarshim deal with is why should this case be any different than that case? Yeah.
That's right. The very said of your Shulchan that's not halacha, but it's something else.
So interesting thing that the Aruch HaShulchan says. Yeah. Okay, so hold on here. I want to save some of this for tomorrow. Yeah, okay, I'm going to read this part now. Okay, but I'm going to save the other part for tomorrow. Vida, you should know, this is going to support your theory, okay? He says, you should know that there's a doubt in the poskim about whether someone who got Nidui in a dream, if people need to observe it, okay? V'yesh mishomer, there are those who say tzarech linhog bo. So the Shach says that people need to observe the Nidui, meaning the guy who gets the Nidui and other people. V'linir tzarech o iyun b'zeh. He says I am not so convinced. Tamidina divrei chalomos laman lo maridin. he says we see the psak that dreams don't matter. Ella shebin nidui chashashu. Well, nidui they're just choshesh. They're just worried that maybe it matters. The inze rak lahatzri chatara, and this is only in order to necessitate a release of nidui. V'lo lechumros mash al piyadin, and not based on all the strictures of halacha. Uvzeh shave l'shari chalamos, and in that sense, it's equal to other divrei chalamos. So what he holds is basically like this: you get nidui in a dream. We paskin dreams don't matter. We are choshesh for the fact that there is a real nidui in the dream, but only to the point where we require you to get it released, but we don't require you to actually observe nidui. So it does make it sound like it's not a real nidui. Question is, why do we even worry? That I think we should wait till for tomorrow. Yeah.
We require you to get it released. Does that mean that we require the 10 people you go to release you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what's even the point of?
Right. So that's what I want to say.
Immediately do it.
Yeah, that's what I want to save for tomorrow. Yeah, but it's weird. It'd be you halakhically be chayav to go through this procedure to find 10 people who learn halacha or 10 blah 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 blah, and like that's like a halachic obligation under the halachos of nidui. Even though there's no effect in terms of your status of being banned.
And nobody can tell you no.
Yeah, right.
It's a lot to go through for something that doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. So that's what
it sounds like Rabbi Feder's share about recognizing the psyche.
Yeah, the omens.
Yeah. And it's almost like it's not even just for you, but for everyone who heard about your like dream, they all have to be like, okay, well, he did go and get matir,
right?
So we don't have to really. We're not maybe potentially over on being related to him on nidui when he should be.
Right. Yeah, it does sound like that, and that's kind of what I want to figure out. See if we can get an idea tomorrow based on what the Mefarshim say, and it's all going to lie in like why you need 10. Okay, and like why these people?
Why does the Rambam even understand dreams in general?
Oh, thank you.
Like that's just a question I have.
Yeah, right. So that's why we might also do the Rambam in the morning looking about dreams.
Yeah.
Okay, but we'll take it.
Can I just for that?
The Rambam in the morning. Yeah, I mean, it's in the morning 236.
236.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I plan to do it in this year if you plan to be here. So.
I do plan to be.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah.